Welcome to Wisdom Wednesday, where we gain valuable insights from leaders and advocates in the autism community. Today, we have the pleasure of introducing Charlie Hart, a remarkable individual known as Awesome Charlie. Charlie's journey is one of resilience, self discovery, and advocacy. Diagnosed with autism and ADHD in her 40s, she embarked on a personal journey of understanding and acceptance. Now, as a public speaker, writer, inclusion consultant, and neurodiversity advocate, Charlie is dedicated to promoting acceptance and meaningful inclusion for autistic and neurodivergent individuals in the society. Today, Charlie will share her insights on navigating autism in the workplace, a personal journey of late diagnosis and self advocacy. Through her personal experience and unwavering advocacy, she will offer valuable perspectives and practical strategies for navigating the workplace as an autistic individual. Join us as we embark on this enlightening journey with Charlie and discover the power of self advocacy and inclusion in the workplace. So, thank you so much, Charlie, for joining us today, and I hand over the further session to you.
Thanks, Krisha. Thanks for having me today. I'm just going to share some slides. Can you see that okay?
Yeah.
So thanks. Is it coming up, Krisha?
Yeah, it looks
brilliant. Thank you for being with us during World Autism Awareness Month. And I will be sharing my own late diagnosis and my workplace journey and how I've learned to advocate for my needs. My name's Charlie Hart. I'm also known as Awesome Charlie, and that's awesome with an AU for autistic, because I'm openly autistic and proud of it. So I'll start from talking to you a little about my childhood. I haven't always known I was autistic. So when I was growing up, nobody knew that there was anything different about me, really. My brother, on the other hand, he was autistic too, and ADHD, and he had some learning disabilities. So he went to a special school, whereas I was quite good at school. I was good at academic work. So I didn't get any kind of neurodevelopmental differences picked up at that age. But I did get picked on a lot by the school bullies, so I wasn't very cool. I was quite nerdy, bit of a loner. I had some fierce interests that were not trendy. And I went to a school with no school uniform, so the fashionable bullies used to bully me a lot for not being acceptable to them because of the way that I dressed and the way that I acted. They would even call me ugly. So basically, I was told, there's something wrong with you. You are not good enough. So this had an impact on my self-esteem. When I got to university, so I did fly through school and I did well in my exams because I've got such a good memory. But when I got to university, I really struggled. I hadn't got the skills to actually do any self-directed study, and I did no coursework, and I ended up just getting drunk all the time and hanging around with bikers and rockers and goths and really struggling, and nobody knew that I was struggling. There was nobody looking out for me. I was away from my support network, away from my parents, my best friend, my boyfriend, and just left to struggle on my own. And by the end of that first year at university, I did fail and I was excluded. This started for me then a really long journey of struggling with my mental health, very low self-esteem. I knew I was clever, but I hadn't managed to get through my degree. I didn't know what to do for a job. I ended up doing modelling work, which made things even worse because suddenly I was getting validation about the way that I looked rather than what I can do with my brain. So this led to a path with lots of self-esteem issues and anxiety and depression. I was really lucky though, because I got a temping job working in HR and I discovered that I really liked HR. I lacked the tact and diplomacy that's necessary to get promoted and progress within HR, but I did systems work and project work and I was really good at it. My logical, methodical approach and the way that I planned and executed all of my workload meant, with great attention to detail, meant that I was very, very good at HR systems and projects. So I ended up in a job where I was thriving. But then I had my first child and I then became unable to cope with the conflicting demands of my quite high pressured HR job and having quite a needy baby to look after. And things got worse and worse. So I was chronically overwhelmed, frequently anxious. Every now and then I would really crash and become very depressed and need time off work. I'd do the self-care and end up bouncing back stronger. This went on for 15 years. I really thought there was something wrong with me. I thought I was quite broken. But then when my son was 14, he was anxious as well, and he was assessed by a psychologist who said, this is not just anxiety. Yes, he's anxious, but the underlying cause of the anxiety is that he's got autism spectrum disorder and he's not been diagnosed and he's not being adequately supported. Suddenly, everything made sense to me. This is a hereditary condition. He's probably got it from me. All of the times in the past where I've struggled to fit in, where I've been picked on for being different, where I've struggled to do my university work, I've said the wrong thing at work to the wrong person, dominated meetings, I haven't picked up on social cues, all of those communication problems and relationship problems, I thought then could be explained by autism. So I sought a diagnosis, and yes, guess what? I was right. It does run in the family, and I have it as well. I've always had it, but I wasn't diagnosed until I was 42. So I made it my new focus then to learn more about autism and the autistic experience, what it looks like in women and adults in the workplace, what we can do to help ourselves to thrive in our roles. I tried to promote acceptance and inclusion and understanding of the autistic experience in adults so that hopefully we can thrive in the workplace as valued members of the workplace and society as a whole, and not just be struggling with a lack of compassion. So I still worked in HR, but more and more my career direction went towards diversity and inclusion. And now I'm a neurodiversity speaker, and I'll come on to what that means. But this, to me, it's opened up a whole new world. I don't know if any of you have heard of neurodiversity even, and even if you have, there's a lot of misunderstanding about what it even means. Neurodiversity, it's a concept that conveys every single human mind works slightly differently. All human brains are unique, like a fingerprint. Some of this is what we're born with, and some of it is how our brains develop over time. We are all the sum of our physiology, our environment, and our experiences. And thus, we all have different support needs and challenges and different things that we're good at and different ways of interacting with the world and taking in and processing information. The whole population, that is, we're all unique. The whole human population is neurodiverse. When I discovered about that after finding out I was autistic, I then learned about the neurodiversity paradigm. And this is a model which says, yes, all brains are different. That doesn't mean some of them are good and some of them are bad and wrong and defective. The differences between our human brains are more neutral than that. In fact, advantageous. Just like biodiversity is advantageous in nature, the differences between human brains is advantageous to the human population. This, after 15 years of feeling broken and like there was something wrong with me, this was highly validating. So what is autism? I like to use the neuro-affirming definition. So that is not a definition that talks about us in pathological terms, but one that recognizes that it's okay to be autistic. It's neutral. It's not a bad word. It's widely recognized as a disability and it can be disabling, but it isn't a bad thing. Proponents of the neurodiversity model, like me, hold that autism and other neurocognitive variants, like ADHD, like dyslexia, dyspraxia, are simply part of the natural spectrum of human biodiversity. That definition's from Dr. Nick Walker, and she was one of the proponents of the neurodiversity movement. She was one of the pioneers. And also it's a broad and dynamic autistic spectrum. So I've already talked a little about the differences between my brother and I. I was a very early learner when it came to reading, writing, speaking. My brother was late speaking. He can read and write a little, but he's very far behind a typical adult, and he's 47 now. So in terms of language, we're very different. Sensory issues. So I do have sensory sensitivities, which is why I wear slightly tinted glasses and I wear earplugs when I'm out in public. I wear comfortable clothes, flat shoes. When I was younger, I didn't really have them. They've got worse with hormonal changes, like through puberty and pregnancy. And now I'm 48 and I'm in menopause and they're worse again. So other people, my daughters are profoundly affected with sensory issues. So one of my daughters has misophonia, which is an extreme sensitivity to certain sounds. So meal times are very hard for her because she can't stand the scraping of a knife and fork on a plate. So she does have a family meal, but she wears her headphones and that's fine. So all these different traits can affect different autistic individuals to a different degree, but also they can change from one day to the next or even 1 hour to the next. If I've had a very stressful, high-pressured day at work, then sometimes I'm so overwhelmed with sensory inputs, I can't even watch telly in the evening. So it does vary a lot, and with hormonal changes, like I said. But let's look at some of the positives. So it's just the right thing to do to make us feel welcome and included. But when I talk about neurodiversity in the workplace, generally employers like to know the why. What's in it for us? Well, there are so many positive attributes that come with autism. So some of these made me very good at my job in HR systems. My attention to detail and my methodical approach meant that I was very accurate with my data entry and calculations, and I could do very advanced formulae in Excel. I could apply pay reviews to everyone in the organization with lots of different letter templates, and it would be 100% accurate. I was able to focus very deeply on my work, which is sometimes advantageous. But if we're expected to task switch a lot, that can be a limitation as well. I was very novel and creative. I thought of innovative ways to improve processes. I had good observation skills. I could spot the things that were missing in written documents rather than just the spelling errors and things. I was very creative in the way that I presented data. I had a very good memory, which made me very good at supporting the HR system because people could phone me and ask me where to where they can need to input a certain thing, and I would just remember off the top of my head because I know what the system looks like. My tenacity and resilience made me very good at problem solving, even if it was a very frustrating problem. I was very accepting of difference, which a lot of autistic people are, and a lot of us are. Autism isn't all that there is about us. We have other differences as well. We're far more likely to be LGBT, in fact. So this awareness that there's more than one thing different about us can make us very accepting of differences in others as well. We can have expertise. So it's a diagnostic criteria that you have highly focused special interests when you're autistic. That makes it sound pathological, like there's something wrong with being very, very focused on something. But actually, as long as you're in the right job, that can be a real advantage. So they call it monotropism now. It means you've got like an attention tunnel where you can get very, very absorbed in a topic. And this is where expertise comes from. So it's not a bad thing. We should be celebrating this. We can be tremendously honest and loyal and committed when adequately supported. Autistic employees can stay for a really long time in the same job. Like my brother worked for a hotel as a porter, and he was there for 20 years and he didn't even have one day off sick. I worked for Solicitors Regulation Authority for 17 years, and I was very loyal and very reliable. But not every person will have all of these different positive traits, but we'll probably have a lot of them. No one person identifies with every positive feature of autism. We all have individual skills and characteristics that are unique, and that's the power of neurodiversity. And I'm talking about all humans when I say that. In the workplace, then, what you sometimes find with people who are neurotypical and they don't have any neurodevelopmental differences is they could be good all-rounders and pretty good at most things if they're in the right job. What you're more likely to find with neurodivergent and autistic employees is there's some things that we're particularly good at, and there might be some things that we really struggle with. So I'm particularly good with my visual memory, for instance, which makes me good at supporting an HR system. I'm not very good with my meeting behaviours, though, and I can inadvertently interrupt people and dominate the conversation. And that's a combination of my autistic tunnel vision when it comes to things I'm focused on, and my ADHD lack of inhibition. So I don't know when to stop talking and let somebody else have a turn. If you want to benefit from the work that we can do at our best, then you need to be able to support us with the things that we struggle with as well. Because it wouldn't do to have a workforce where everybody is the same and we all think the same. That's the best way to stifle innovation and growth. And there's so many misapprehensions. So for instance, autistic meltdowns. If you see an autistic meltdown and you don't know the person's autistic, you might think that they're having a temper tantrum and they're kicking off because they're not getting their own way. Whereas actually an autistic meltdown is a major brain event. It's involuntary. It can be the result of having a lot of different demands placed on us all at once, or a lot of sensory inputs all at once, or a combination of those. It can be a result of justice sensitivity if we notice hypocrisy or something like that. There's various things that can cause an autistic meltdown, but it is a culmination of factors. And when it happens, we aren't responsible and we are not in control of the situation. So what's really helpful is if you understand that and nip it in the bud early with some targeted, tailored support, or give us a chance to de-escalate. So for me, de-escalation looks like a walk around the block, because moving my feet, left, right, moving forward, changing scenery, fresh air, bird song, all these things help me to re-regulate myself. If it's a purely sensory thing and it's from looking at a laptop screen and hearing voices in meetings, then it's helpful to me to lie down with one of those yoga eye pillows over my eyes. So I've got sensory deprivation until I feel a bit better. It's different from different people though, so it's about knowing the individual. Because I advocated for myself and I had quite a lot of psychological safety in my role, which is a privilege, I felt that I was able to talk to my manager about what my meltdowns look like and what she can do to help calm me down. So this is really good. This is self-advocacy, and this helps us to thrive in the workplace. If I have a lot of meltdowns and I'm constantly overwhelmed over a longer period, I can end up in an autistic burnout. And before I knew I was autistic, this was happening to me and I thought it was depression. It looks like depression, it acts like depression. If you go to a doctor with symptoms of autistic burnout, they will probably think it's depression if they don't know you're autistic, because it looks the same. But the difference is there were specific things triggering it for me. So when I found out I was autistic, I went through a period of introspection where I looked inside myself and I researched the condition, and I thought long and hard about what situations I'd been in where I ended up like this. And I realized it's when I was working on project work where I'm getting a lot of verbal actions, verbally communicated in meetings, not in writing. And I was in a lot of meetings where I'm constantly masking a professional veneer and not being myself, which is really hard work and really draining. So I was then able to say to my manager, don't put me on two projects at once. And if you give me if you give me an instruction verbally in a meeting, can you please back it up by sending me an email saying, Charlie, we've asked you to do this and this and this? Because my working memory is such that if somebody verbally asks me to do this, that, and the other, I'll do the other straight away. That I might make a note of, and was there a this? I can't even remember. So it's very, very overwhelming to me to get a lot of verbal instructions. And communication differences. So I supported the HR and payroll systems. So I had internal customers who expected to be able to come to me and to ask me for advice, talk to me about their needs, what HR management information reports they want and things, what error messages they were getting. I like to think that I was approachable and nice, but actually, if I was overwhelmed, I could come across really abrupt and standoffish, blunt, rude even. So this is not that I didn't care about their needs, it's an autistic communication difference. And to me, that's much more profound when I'm overwhelmed with workload. But when we're constantly worried about our autistic social communication differences and we mask, this is very, very draining. So we can end up scripting conversations, planning them in advance, which is all well and good, unless they go down a different direction and then we're not prepared. We can overthink things like our non-verbal communication, our body language, what our eyes are doing, what our hands are doing. So I'm quite expressive with my hands. Eye contact can be an issue. So I had no problem with eye contact at all until I was 18. And my boyfriend at the time said to me, did you know that you don't make eye contact with me? And suddenly I became very, very self-conscious about that. And now I make an effort to make eye contact, but that means I can sometimes overdo it. So I'm then thinking, is my eye contact enough? Is it too much? And that's really draining for me. While I'm thinking about all that, I'm not thinking about my job. imagine that in a job interview. I'm not going to be giving you a good example about what I can do if all I am thinking about is what my eyes are doing, what my hands are doing, trying not to look awkward. We can overthink every interaction then. Oh, did I make it awkward? And then we don't sleep well because we lie awake ruminating about what we might have said wrong and things like that. We might panic about our facial expressions. So all of this is really, really hard work and really draining. And that's why when the pandemic hit and a lot of people started working from home, some or all of the time, they realize that when we're not worried about what we look like to other people, it can actually mean we can focus on our work more. Now, I like to go out and meet people in 3D as well, but it's very helpful to me to have that time where I'm working from home and I can focus on my work and not care about what my face is doing. And all the myths and stereotypes. So I make it my work to bust a few myths. So many times I've mentioned I'm autistic and people have said things like, but you can't be, you've got empathy. That's just one example of an autistic myth. So a lot of autistic people I know, and I'm not just talking about more higher functioning, lower support needs autistic people, I mean all of us, many of us can be very, very empathetic. So we do feel the feelings with people when they're struggling. If we're around people that are in a low mood, it can bring us down as well. So just because we might not make the facial expressions you expect or say the right things, it doesn't mean we're not feeling the feelings with you. So I do think it's a good idea to smash those negative stereotypes. And can I just explain why I say I am autistic, not I have autism or I suffer from autism? Autism is what I am. My brain developed when I was a baby in the womb. It starts from then. The way that my brain and body and mind have developed is autistically. It's ingrained in my mind. It isn't something that I've caught. It's not. It's not an add-on. It's not an accessory. It is who I am. It's very intrinsic to me. So autistic is an adjective like any other. So let's use it. It's neutral. It's not a bad word. I don't suffer from autism. I suffer from a lack of understanding of autism. And yes, I sometimes say on the spectrum just to avoid repetition. But why do we need euphemisms like that? If somebody else says they have autism, I'm not going to correct them because the individual's language preferences is more important than what I think about it. Respecting the language preferences of the individual is the key thing here. I am a great supporter of the social model of disability. So I have some things that I consider to be medical, but other things that where, yes, I'm disabled, but it's more by society than that there's something wrong with me. I don't think that my autism is something that needs to be fixed. I don't think I'm broken because I'm autistic. I just need to be in an environment which is nurturing to me. When a flower doesn't bloom, you don't fix the environment. You don't fix the flower, sorry. When a flower doesn't bloom, you fix the environment in which it grows, not the flower. It isn't the flower's fault. Like a canary in a coal mine, if a canary senses a toxic environment, it isn't the fault of the canary, it's that the environment is toxic. Every human has got unique strengths and challenges, and everyone has specific accessibility and support needs. So we shouldn't even need a diagnosis. In an ideal, progressive, inclusive employment situation, we're finding out what every human needs in order to thrive in their roles. I've got 10 autism allyship tips. So this is just from my own perspective. I would like you to protect us and defend us from discrimination and bullying. Stick up for us. Believe us when we tell you about our sensory needs. Consciously accommodate us and try to make us comfortable. Appreciate our spiky profiles, so the things that we're good at, and give us positive feedback about them, because a lot of us are rejection sensitive, so we could do with those ego boosts. Aim for universal design where possible. So that's making work as accessible as possible for as many people as possible. And then look at individual needs after that. Consider the impact of task switching and unexpected calls. So if I'm focused on one of my Excel spreadsheets and somebody phones me and they want me to drop that and do something else, it takes a lot of time and effort to pull my focus out of that and do this other thing, and then more effort to switch back from that and refocus again. Challenge neuronormative expectations around social communication. So if you say to me, "How are you, Charlie?" and I'm not sure how to respond to that, I don't know if you want a detailed answer, how I really am, or just the socially acceptable, "I'm fine, thanks." This isn't that there's something wrong with me. It's that societal expectations don't always line up with the way that my brain works. Avoid lengthy verbal instructions, be specific and direct where you can. Notice if we're becoming overwhelmed and going into meltdown. Take care of us. TLC, it's compassion. Ensure that we have a voice and consult us about decisions. So give us agency over the way that we work and the environment we work in, the processes that affect our roles. And create and demonstrate an inclusive culture with psychological safety. When I say psychological safety, what I mean there is I can speak up about who I am and what my needs are without fearing discrimination. I can feel safe to be myself and be open about who I am and what I need. Feel safe and actually be safe. Thank you for listening. I am taking questions as well. My name's Charlie Hart. I'm a qualified, experienced HR analyst and a diversity and inclusion specialist. I'm now a professional speaker about neurodiversity. You can find me on LinkedIn, scan here for my company page. There's my website, there's my email address. And thank you very much for listening. Krisha, you there?
Yes,
Hi.
I hope. Yeah. So I think we can wait for a few more seconds. Like we do not have any questions yet.
Okay.
But if anybody wants to ask any questions, they can definitely put it down in the comments box below.
Brilliant.
And in case if somebody is watching this live after it's done, the recorded version, in case if you have any questions, you can definitely put them down as well. We will reach out to Charlie and we will make sure that we answer them.
Thank you.
So
if you go on my website, all my social links are there, but I'm at Awesome Charlie on pretty much everything. I've got quite a few videos on YouTube as well, exploring some of the different themes that I've touched on today.
okay. If you want, you can just share like any of the video you want to with the audiences so they can just have a reference of where they can find.
Okay.
So you can do that as well.
Let me just look for my YouTube. Can you see that?
Yes.
Yeah, so this is my YouTube. I've got a lot on here. There's a playlist here, events featuring Charlie Hart. So this contains all of the videos that I've done that are on YouTube, including some corporate talks. I was diagnosed autistic. Yeah. Let's not watch it now because you've just heard all that. And then with complex PTSD. I'm going to stop sharing because I'm messing that up. Is there any questions you want to ask me, Krisha?
Listening your talk, I really felt that you have been someone who has been like, everyone is the same and we should include everyone. So I just have one question in my mind that like when you see somebody like struggling for the same thing which you have done,
Yes.
what is that one thing you would like to advise them? Like, what is the
Yeah.
one thing they need to keep in mind and then go ahead? Because as you gave an
Okay.
example of the flower, that it's not the fault of the flower,
Yeah.
of the environment. What is that one advice which you would like to give to our audiences, like which they need to keep in mind? Because it's not always necessary that everyone would understand. So that would
No.
be wise for our audiences.
Okay. Oh, this is a difficult one. I need to think for a few seconds.
Sure,
Uh,
why not?
yeah. I'll share my blog with you as well. I've got more detail on all of those points at the end. But so for me, I had reasonable adjustments. In the UK, if you identify as disabled, so you've got some kind of impairment which is long term and affects your daily functioning, you can tell your employer that you're disabled, that you have a disability, and you can request reasonable adjustments. So I've got some of those, and it ranged from I work from home 2 days a week, and then beyond that, if I was really overwhelmed on another day, I could have an extra home working day. Uh, if I felt like I was having a meltdown, I was able to take a break at short notice and go for a walk. Uh, I was allowed time off to go to therapy sessions, unlimited medical appointments. So these are all things that my employers did to help me thrive in my role, and which is a win-win because it means that I'm not going off sick and I'm doing better work, I'm more engaged. What else? It's things like accommodating sensory issues. So allowing us to wear noise cancelling earphones if we need them, allowing us to sit in a quieter part of the office. I had to move when I worked at SRA. I was sitting under an air conditioning unit, which made a rumbly noise that was like, it's like the brown noise you can listen to on sleep sounds. And it used to make me feel sick and lethargic. So I asked to move, and people kept saying, it's not that bad. And eventually I moved, and I was more alert and I did better work. And so please just believe us. But yeah, it's very individual, so it's difficult, but you can actually Google typical adjustments for autistic people, and it will give you a whole long list of them, and you look through and think, well, that would help me, that wouldn't so much, I could try that. And it's very individual. I sometimes wear sunglasses at my laptop as well because my eyes can be so sensitive if I'm particularly overwhelmed. So many things.
Great answer to this question. And one more last question I have for you. So basically, what has been like some of the rewarding aspects of embracing your identity? Like as
Yes.
you say that we are not different, we are the same. You need to
Yeah.
accept us as the way we are. So what is that rewarding aspect you have found in like finding like if I have this identity, there is something special about it. So what is that?
Yeah. Um, I find it extremely validating to to know that there's a concrete reason that I'm struggling with some things that my intellectual peers might find easier. So it's helped me to put my self-esteem back together. It's helped me rebuild my confidence. But what's more important to me now, because I have teenage daughters, it's helping them as well. They're autistic too, and they see me being openly autistic, owning that, not being ashamed of it, and advocating for my needs, and it's empowering them to do the same thing. So I'm confident that they will reach adulthood. They they will they there will be things they struggle with, because there always will be, but they are better equipped to try and get their needs met, and they're not going to be trying to hide away their autism and behave like and appear like everybody else. So to me, that's great, because they are awesome and I wouldn't want them to be any different.
That really sounds amazing that you really expect your daughters to be like the way they are.
Yes.
And that is really amazing. Everyone should be exactly what they are. They shouldn't mask themselves. So that is
Yeah.
something a great like message to all our audiences. So,
Yeah.
as I don't see any questions on the live stream, in case if we get it, I will definitely get in touch with you so we can answer them. And so, as we conclude and come to the end of this amazing session, I hope everyone has been inspired by the valuable insights shared by you. And I would like to say, audiences, that Charlie's unique perspective and advocacy efforts reminds us of the importance of amplifying diverse voices in the autism community. So, thank you so much, Charlie, for your tireless advocacy and sharing with us so many valuable insights and your personal journey. And thank you to everyone who joined us today on this enlightening conversation. And until next time, may we continue to learn, grow, and advocate together. So take care and see you next
Thank
time.
you. Stay awesome.
Yeah, bye-bye. Hoping
Bye.
to collaborate with you again in future, because listening your story was something which really gave us an enlightenment in our like our brains.
Excellent.
That is really amazing, and having you here was really an honor for Autism Connect. So a big thank you from the entire team, and hoping to see you again soon.
Thank you. Yes, I'll be back. Yeah.
Yeah,
Thank you.
yeah. Bye-bye.
Bye.